Let me tell you something powerful. Identity is not discovered. Identity is built. Repeatedly, intentionally, relentlessly. Identity is the sum of what you tolerate. Identity is shaped by the standards you enforce. Identity grows from the habits you practice in private. Identity is created by the choices you repeat, long enough for them to become who you are. And here's the revelation most people never grasp. You don't get the identity first. You get the habits first, and the habits give birth to the identity. You don't become confident by waiting to feel confident. You become confident by doing the things a confident person would do. You don't become disciplined by wishing for discipline. You become disciplined by acting like someone who refuses to negotiate with convenience. You don't become successful by hoping for success. You become successful by showing up daily, like someone preparing for a future they haven't tasted yet. There is no magic. There is no mystery. There is no secret formula. Identity follows action, and this is where the old you starts to break. Because the old you was fueled by feelings, motivated only when life felt inspiring, when the room was clapping, when the path was comfortable. But the new you, the you keep imagining, that version is fueled by commitment. There's a difference between motivation and identity. Motivation says, I feel like it. Identity says, this is who I am. Motivation is a spark. Identity is a foundation. Motivation fades. Identity repeats. Motivation depends on emotion. Identity depends on execution. Motivation asks for permission. Identity moves without it. So if you want to rewrite your life, stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Start asking, what would the best version of me do right now? And am I willing to do it even if I don't feel like it? That question, answered honestly, will change your entire life. Because the blueprint of your future self is activated every time you choose discipline over comfort, action over hesitation, alignment over avoidance. Now listen closely. Every day is a page. Every choice is a sentence. Every action is a paragraph. Every habit is a chapter. And your identity, your real identity, is the book you're writing in real time. You don't have to wait for a breakthrough. You don't need someone to rescue you. You don't need life to get easier. You don't need the perfect moment. You need a pen. You need a decision. You need a standard. And when you commit to rewriting who you are, your future self, the one who's been watching from a distance, finally lifts his head and whispers, that's it. That's the one I've been waiting for. Because the rewrite is not just about doing more, it's about becoming more. It's about stepping into the version of you that your excuses fear the most. And once you begin the rewrite, once you align your actions with your future instead of your past, you move into the next stage, a stage most people never reach. There comes a moment in every person's life, a real moment, not the poetic kind where you stand face to face with the consequences of every choice you've made. Not the excuses, not the intentions, not the I'll do better next week. The results. And whether you realize it or not, that moment is always a meeting between who you were, who you pretended to be, and who you were meant to become. Most people never make it to that meeting. They avoid it for decades. They hide from it behind comfort, distraction, entertainment, denial. They drown themselves in noise because silence is dangerous. Silence brings you closer to the truth. But part 4 is not about the ones who hide. Part 4 is about the ones who finally open that door. The room you've been avoiding your whole life. Imagine a room dim, quiet, heavy with a feeling you can't name. You walk inside because life finally forced you to. Maybe it was a loss, maybe a failure, maybe a breakup, maybe a moment of exhaustion so deep you couldn't pretend anymore. You step in and you see him, your future self, not the fantasy version you like imagining at 2 a.m., not the millionaire version on your vision board, not the disciplined, shredded, spiritually enlightened, emotionally stable version you talk about but never commit to. No, the real one. The version of you who could have existed by now. The version built from every chance you threw away. The version shaped by every morning you said you'd wake up early but didn't. Every risk you avoided. Every dream you postponed. Every moment you chose comfort instead of courage. He looks at you with eyes that are calm but heavy. Not angry, not hateful, but disappointed. The kind of disappointment that hurts more than any insult. Because it's the disappointment of someone who knows what you were capable of, and knows that you knew it too. And in that room, without a single word spoken, you feel everything. The years you wasted, the strength you never developed, the opportunities you ignored, the courage you never used, the potential you let rot in the dark. That disappointment hits harder than any punishment life could ever give you, because it's the one you earned, the conversation you never wanted but always needed. He finally speaks. His voice isn't loud, it's not dramatic, but it cuts deeper than anything you've ever heard. He says, "Why didn't you fight for us?" That question breaks something inside you, because deep down, you know the truth. You didn't fail because you were too weak. You failed because you never stayed long enough in the fight to find out how strong you could become. You didn't fail because the world was against you. You failed because comfort was easier. You didn't fail because you lacked potential. You failed because you treated your potential like a luxury, not a duty. He continues, "You knew what you needed to do. You knew what you were capable of. You knew the life you wanted. So why did you stop? Why did you give up on the person you were supposed to be?" You try to explain. You talk about your fear, your past, your trauma, your habits, your circumstances. But he shakes his head. "Everyone is afraid," he says. "Everyone has pain. Everyone has reasons to quit. But not everyone does." You realize then that your excuses don't work here. Not with him. Not with the version of yourself who lived the life you were supposed to earn. The truth you can't run from anymore. The disappointment of your future self doesn't come from judgment. It comes from clarity. He sees what you could have been, the discipline you should have built, the respect you should have earned, the opportunities you should have taken, the strength you should have developed, the people you should have outgrown, the version of yourself you were meant to become but never committed to becoming. He isn't disappointed that you fell. He's disappointed that you didn't get back up. He isn't disappointed that you were afraid. He's disappointed that you let fear choose your life for you. He isn't disappointed that you made mistakes. He's disappointed that you kept repeating them because changing was too uncomfortable.